So Noah had three sons, Shem, Japheth, and Ham, right? So what you're looking at here, Yasharel comes in the bloodline of Shem. So what you're looking at right here, this is a statue that was in front of the Museum of Natural History that was taken down in 2020. So you see this is Teddy Roosevelt, and he's leading into captivity the red nations, that's Shem, and the black nations, okay? So let me explain. So America is Canaan, and we were given the red nations the land of Canaan, the Canaanites. We're here. This is what America. The dark races were here too, and the red nations, and we were given the land of Canaan. So okay, so Canaan got cursed, right? A curse upon the Canaanites. He swore, may he be the lowest of slaves to the descendants of Shem and Japheth. Japheth are the European nations. Then he said, Yah bless Shem, and may Canaan be his slave. Those are when we would speak of in the scriptures, like Rachel and a lot of our women, and Sarah, they had maids. Those are the slaves. We were not mistreating them like when you talk about slaves like these European people did. Okay, so then Yah bless Japheth, and let him serve the prosperity of Shem, and let Canaan be his slave. So when the red nations that was given the land of America broke covenant, this is when the descendants of Japheth, which is the European nations, came over to enslave us. And Canaan, this is Canaan. So the black races that were here got enslaved too, because they were cursed to be slaves to Japheth. So there are two different kinds of Moors. So the original founding fathers of America were black Moors, Muslims. Okay, so there are two different kinds. So at the beginning, when they started to round up the red nations, I saw a lot of videos from the black community making fun of us because they said that this land is coming back to them. And I told them they're going to come to do the same thing to you guys. And they denied it. And they were like, that's not going to happen. Well, that's what's happening now. So there is a snare. So everybody is going around and becoming a criminal and breaking into places and stealing. They have, how you call it, face recognition. And they're going to come to your doors. And they're going to put you into slave camps because they've been doing it for some time now. So that's why you see Russia and China, the dragon that's racing up, the tail is in Alaska, the belly is in Venezuela, and the head is by Puerto Rico and Jamaica, that's rising up. Those are Japheth, the European nations. They're working together. And why are they in our lands? They're all in our lands that Yah gave to us, like Canada, North and South America, and the islands, because they're coming to do the same thing all over again, to repeat history, to colonize us and enslave us once again, because the 400 years are up. So that's why you see that Russia and China are in Alaska, they're in Mexico, Venezuela, they're in the Caribbean, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to repeat history again, but it's not going to work out the second time for them, because Abba is bringing them to our lands as a snare. He is inviting them in, and then he's going to rain fire upon them. And it's in the scriptures, I believe, of Zechariah. And it's going to be 7 years of our people burying them in our lands. The battle of Gog and Magog. So remember, yes, Russia will be taking over with China, but there's two masters. You either serve one or the other. And this is the Russian Federation, and they're Luciferian. They're all Luciferian. Japheth, they're part of the Brotherhood. They all work together. Russia and China, America, they're all part of the Brotherhood. So what they're in our lands is to enslave us all over again and take our lands and our possessions all over again. That's why they're here.
I'm super excited to go shopping for some new fall clothes. I saw that UGG has like some really cute shoes out right now, and I am super excited. I think that they would look better with like some baggy jeans, you know, like the kind that like Taylor Swift and Cardi B wear, and then like maybe a cute little crop top, a crop, you know, sweater or something. But then I also like those long, cozy knit sweaters from like maybe Shein, the kind that have like multiple colors on them. You can pair those with anywhere and a pair of baggy jeans and some Uggs, or maybe like your Nikes. I saw Meg the Stallion wearing an outfit like that the other day, and it was just super cute. I'm like, oh my god, she is so ready for fall. Because, you know, I have fall boots and stuff, but it's time for a refresh. It's time to look for something more trendy. You know, just get with the times. I need to update my wardrobe. So I'm gonna hit up Old Navy, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, maybe Macy's, see what I can find because, you know, it's getting cold out here in these streets.
What's hidden at the foot of the Statue of Liberty? Although you can't see them from a distance, up close you can't miss them, a shackle and chains that rest at her huge feet. But did you know that the Statue of Liberty was originally derived from a statue of a peasant woman intended for the head of the Suez Canal? That idea was ultimately rejected by Egypt. So French artist Frederic Bartholdi recycled it for a new client, and this time Lady Liberty would hold chains, thought to symbolize the legacy of slavery in the United States. But this raised concerns with some Americans who did not want the statue to open old wounds. Reluctantly, Bartholdi agreed that a tablet to represent the Declaration of Independence would be held prominently. But he didn't get rid of the chains altogether. Instead, he tucked them away, almost out of sight. And there they remain, what many people believe to be a symbol of America's enduring struggle for racial equality.
Actually, in the reading Ezekiel 38, it says, you see, a long time from now, you will call to action in distant years and swoop down on the land of Yasharel. Yasharel is by Utah, and they're by Utah too, in Arizona, the troops. And you see that they will say, let's come and enslave them again. So take the time to please read the reading of Ezekiel. But as you read further on, that he tells you that we will bury them, and I will make a vast graveyard for Gog and Magog and his army in the valley of the travelers by the Dead Sea. Okay, so now I want you to also take the time to pull up the Denver, Colorado mural. So in it, you're going to see apocalyptic scenery. And you see the guys dressed in Nazis with gas masks because they're spreading pestilence. And you're going to see two dead women in coffins, a red nation, and a black lady, an African lady, and dead in coffins. And the Russian Federation, you're gonna see is I'm gonna show you something that's gonna say how the end game is the Denver, Colorado mural. Excuse me. So that's what they want to do. That's the end game that they want to do. And another thing that I want to share, I'm going to share a couple of videos, and I want you to pay attention in it because it brings up Russia in these two videos. And another one that I shared before and I will share again is how Russia and China are going to shut down the grid. And America has known this since like the 80s. And this was actually in the newspaper in the headlines. So again, these nations work together.
over to Kamala, who says, what the hell am I doing with this guy right now? But all kidding aside, I've known you my whole life, most of you. I've worked with you my whole life, most of you. I've been around doing this for a long, long time. I don't always get it right, but I always take responsibility. When I get it wrong, I acknowledge I got it wrong. But my overarching objective, if we cannot make significant progress on racial equity, this country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do.
Let's find out how effective they've been in distorting the truth. Possible there was an Egyptian civilization in the Americas before Columbus. If you look at a map of the Mississippi River, there is a surprising amount of cities named after Egyptian cities. Southern Illinois was once even known as Little Egypt. Not only are there cities named after Egyptian cities, there are mounds everywhere along the Mississippi River, some of them with areas bigger than that of the Great Pyramid. Newspaper clippings from the 1800s all the way up to 1986 have reported people finding Egyptian artifacts in caves along the Mississippi River, especially in southern Illinois. There are also newspaper clippings of Egyptian artifacts found in the Grand Canyon. The area in which they were found is still guarded by helicopters and is inaccessible by the public.
Spanish came, these priests burned for 30 days all the Mayan books. So there was none left, and his reason was, it's either the word of God, and we've already got that, so we'll destroy it, and if it isn't, it's the work of the devil. So they destroyed the whole Mayan culture, literature, which was very good and very aware, and there was about 3 books left which sort of say, you know, got up and went to work, and there's not enough words for them to work out what the language was. What's going to happen?
You feel so frustrated at what was done to the Indians in the past that you feel like you should do something for their descendants now, who are still getting it.
Well, I know,
ways.
Illiterate and not educated, not looked after. I mean, they're like, I don't know if they're having it worse than black people here, but it's pretty rough for them, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very bad, and I think it's good that people have a sense of conscience about it and are doing something about it.
Well, they made so much money out of the Indians. At first they took the land, and then they made movies about them taking the land, you know. It's a bit mean, you know. What's happening with the Indians? I mean, what are they doing for them, you know? Don't they legally really own the land?
Not
like
enough. Interestingly enough, some conservative politicians seem to be more concerned for the Indians than some liberal politicians.
Maybe they've realized how many there are on the whole American continent, including the South.
How many
people
votes
think there's only a few Indians left. There's millions of them in the whole continent of America, which includes South America. And one day they're going to be asking for their rights. I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't standing next to the black people too. So it's either give now or die later, I reckon.
So Grand Tertoria is a blanket term for Eurasia, Russia, and China. So what you see here right now is the rise of Grand Tertoria all over again. So you see, Magog, Gog, and Magog, descendants of who? Japhet, king of Spain, one of our colonizers. So what they're trying to do is the same thing they did before when we broke covenant, put the 400 years up, and they had to give us our lands back and let us go. And they're trying to do the same thing all over again. And these flights, how they're grounded, all these flights and they can't fly, people can't fly out. I really believe it has a lot to do because they don't want us to get out of here. They don't want us to fly out of here. They want us to be able to stay here like a cauldron and get stuck here when they come and invade. And they're coming from all directions, by the way.
Breaking news. Sean Duffy is planning fewer flights, not just for the shutdown, but forever. Listen to this.
We may have the same experience we had in Newark. We had delays and cancellations in Newark in the early summer. We reduced the capacity, and then the flights were on time, right? We had less cancellations, less delays. It was the most on-time months we had at Newark ever. So that could be an outcome of what we're doing. And we'll
So you just heard it out of the horse's mouth. He said that the FAA may permanently reduce the number of flights nationwide, even after the shutdown ends, to rebalance the system. Because so many controllers have quit or are working without pay that the agency says it simply can't handle pre-shutdown traffic levels anymore. So instead of fixing the problem by restoring funding, hiring staff, or making the job livable, the plan is to just shrink capacity and call it efficiency. And that means fewer flights, fewer options, and of course, higher ticket prices for everyone. Also, they can claim that the system is running smoother. It's like fixing rush hour traffic by closing half the roads, then bragging that traffic jams disappeared. And here's the kicker. Duffy framed this as a long-term improvement, which means the FAA may never go back to full capacity. So next time you're wondering why your flight got cut, delayed, or cost twice as much, remember that's the new normal that they're planning for.
But I would like to put something on the overhead tonight to show you an article. And for many of you Prophecy Club folks here tonight, this isn't new information to you. For some of the visitors that might be here, this may be very new information. This was an article, let me move this down just a hair. This was an article that was given to me 2 weeks before this tour started. Let me share with you a few details. I did not want to take this tour. Okay, I really did not want to connect to the Prophecy Club. When I got the prophecy for them, the Lord had told me some things about this ministry and how everything they were saying was about the end times. And I'm thinking, no, I don't want to go there. I've been booted out of enough churches. I've been persecuted enough for my position. I'm not going to hook up with anybody that's going to just completely declare the end as they really believe it. Now, you know, all of us have to leave the fear of man sooner or later in our lives. Amen? So that's what I had to do. And when I was praying about this tour, the Lord said He would give me daily a sign everywhere I went, a sign in the natural that what I had seen was truly Him. We walked in the airport today. We were coming through the terminal, and He showed me a Humvee sitting in the main area of the terminal of this airport. And by the way, it was the exact type that I saw. The one that I'm going to show you tonight on the overheads later, it's not the same one. This article was a reprint. Actually, I have the original copy if you would like it. I can get it to Prophecy Club, and you could request that. They'll, get it to you. This was in the 1991 Santa Barbara, California News Press paper. This has to do with a single high-altitude nuclear blast by a rogue nation which would bombard the continental United States with electromagnetic rays, crippling civil and military electronics from light bulbs to computers. Military experts warned Congress Wednesday. Such an explosion would unleash electromagnetic pulse. I'm going to move this up just a hair. Would release an electromagnetic pulse that would erase computer data in banks, stock market, halt cars, trucks, shut down electricity in the lower 48 states. This is interesting to me because I prophesied a long time ago that Alaska would not experience the judgment that the 48 states would receive. I got this paper and I thought, oh, that's interesting. The pulse would last only a fraction of a second. Our civilian telephone, electricity, communications, and electronic plants are all naked to our nuclear-armed enemies, said Lowell Wood, a physicist with the Lawrence Livermore Laboratories. Even a modest single explosion EMP attack on the U.S. would likely devastate us as a modern post-industrial nation. I'll move this up just again a bit. Any nuclear-capable nation, including Russia, China, and North Korea. I'm going to talk to you tonight about North Korea, some specifics. I have some inside information that the Lord has allowed me to see about North Korea and China. Any nuclear-capable nation, including these nations, could cripple the U.S. military machine and lay waste to modern American civilization, said Wood, who also is a consultant to the Defense Department.
Did you know that in 2023, Mexico invited Russian and Chinese troops to march in its Independence Day parade? They walked through the heart of Mexico City beside the Mexican army, an image that shocked many and sparked debate over where Mexico's global loyalties really stand. Some saw it as a diplomatic gesture, others as a warning sign. Either way, it marked a moment the world couldn't ignore.
News, the standoff in Latin America has just taken a dangerous turn. U.S. warships are now stationed off Venezuela's coast, part of Washington's campaign to crush Maduro's regime and the cartels that back him. But Venezuela is no longer standing alone. Reports confirm that Chinese amphibious tanks have been spotted unloading at Venezuelan ports, with satellite images showing armored columns moving inland. At the same time, Russian advisors are said to be on the ground assisting with air defense systems around Caracas. This means the confrontation is no longer just U.S. versus Venezuela. It's becoming a proxy showdown with China and Russia directly involved. Analysts warn this could evolve into the most serious hemispheric crisis since the Cuban Missile Crisis. The risks are enormous. Venezuela controls the world's largest oil reserves. Shipping lanes across the Caribbean could be disrupted, and any clash could drag NATO, Beijing, and Moscow into the same battlefield.
Russia just got involved. Да. Нам нужна твоя помощь. Что? Как дела? Russia just sent a heavy cargo plane to Venezuela. And not just any heavy cargo plane, they sent the Wagner Group. The Wagner Group is a mercenary group that is sent to do high unalivings. They go in like the fucking boogeyman. They're worse than the CIA and the KGB combined. And I need you to understand how bad this is, and this is how bad they're getting ready to fight us. The route that heavy cargo plane took was a route that it skipped all Western nations, okay? It went through Armenia, Algeria, Morocco, Mauritania, and then Senegal, and shot straight to Venezuela. No detection. There are 50 aircrafts and about 200 military personnel on that flight. A day after the United States of America hit 4 boats in the Pacific Ocean. Meaning we literally just told Russia we were hitting the whole fucking Caribbean. Like, if we were lying on the fucking media and saying we were just targeting Venezuela, he came over here and confirmed it and said, Los Etsukada. Now, you might not see anything wrong with that, baby. But that's the day after we moved the USS Gerald 4 all the way from Europe, which is the biggest warship in the entire fucking world. That warship is a little fucking Atlantis. We have 4,000 Marines outside, 4,500 Navy sailors, and a couple of different U.S. destroyers, and that's carrying tens of thousands of people. And Russia has an activation military base in Nicaragua. I told you that they built a military base on June 10th of 2022 in Nicaragua under President Daniel Ortega. So if it was a little minuscule and he wanted to do surveillance, he could have taken the opportunity 110% of deploying them from Nicaragua, sending them through Panama, and getting them to Venezuela. But he did not. He sent the Wagner Group from Russia. Meaning them motherfuckers are going to do exactly what they did in Africa, which means go undetected from Russia to Africa, which means goes undetected from fucking Venezuela to America. And the Pentagon already warned you in March that we were going to have sleeper cells in this country and that you needed to stop mobilizing in big areas because they were worried about Americans being attacked. They just added a different level to this bullshit real quick, and I want you to understand this is not a good level. Because for the first time in years, Russia has practiced their nuclear missile tests. There's only one country Russia would ever need to use their nuclear missiles against. And baby, that's us. So you need to stay tuned, because if China makes a chess move, because Donald Trump is currently tagging on Malaysia, Thailand, Japan, Argentina, and other countries to steal rare earth minerals from, instead of China to take them out of the ballpark of the market, they might see this as an incentive to also currently come in because of Taiwan. And North Korea tested their missile tests outside of South Korea while Donald Trump was there today, showing that he don't give a fuck about Donald Trump at all. So we're going to have to pay attention to this, because if Donald Trump hits Venezuela on soil, baby, we about to have some action on soil. I swear to Bob.
El pueblo in Puerto Rico, we look to the horizon, because yesterday, in el pueblo de Arroyo, Puerto Rico, 10,000 more troops arrived on our shores, stacked with cargo and armed with intention. And the only thing that the U.S. military does in Puerto Rico is bring the weight of an empire that has never once asked for our consent. For over a century, this island has been treated as a military outpost, a launching pad, a prize wrapped in a flag that's not even our own. And they have the audacity to call it a territory, but what they really mean is a possession. They want to say that they're here for our safety and our protection, but what they really mean is control. But we're not here to be fooled anymore. The U.S. military is not in Puerto Rico out of love for the island or its protection, because power moves where profit flows. And Venezuela's oil fields light up like a beacon on their maps. And just yesterday, I learned for the first time that U.S. had funneled millions of dollars into Colombia for aid. But what was that aid used for? It was used to funnel into their military industrial complex. What it did is build Black Hawk helicopters. So as you can see, their greed is just cloaked in noble words. A month ago, vessels arrived on our shores, and now these 10,000 military troops are here in Puerto Rico. This isn't a coincidence. This is just strategy. What they see as strategy, we see as sacred. These reefs, these mangroves, these rainforests, they're alive. They have their own memory, and military boots do not walk lightly. We know this. In Vieques, bombs fell like a drumbeat, and the earth still trembles with their poison. Jet fuel seeps into groundwater. Heavy metals linger in the sand, and forever chemicals stain the veins of the island and the blood of our people. Of course, to them, these are just side effects, but to us, this is home. Every exercise that they conduct is an echo of colonization, but we are not a training ground. We're not a chessboard. We're not a quiet, obedient shore. So today I want to remind you that we are the descendants of a people that survived conquest and still sing. We are the heartbeat of a land that refused to be silent. And today we're saying enough. Enough to their ships, enough to their oil wars, enough to their polite lies wrapped in stars and stripes. This fight is older than their empire, and it lives in every single one of us. So raise your voice. Let it echo beyond Arroyo, beyond Washington. Let it shake their fences, and let them know that Puerto Rico will not be used as a weapon in someone else's war. Not now and not ever.
when we were mentioning this, something huge you need to do. If you're new here, you're just tuning in, you're like, man, I really need to stay tuned up with what's happening. We're doing that for you right now. And if you look in the live chat, Earth Disaster Beneath Us, Professor warns. The professor came out and said the Ring of Fire was going to shift. 300 earthquakes detected. Something is happening beneath there. Don't leave yet, because we're going to get into what that is. But if you were to go across JWTV channel right now, and that's what you should do after this video is over, you'll see multiple videos that we put out that in the last couple of days have been actually manifesting in some way or somehow. Because this is something the professor was looking at for 30 plus years. But why? Why in Alaska do they want to go there? And underneath Alaska, one of the most unstable zones, yes, people have been reporting that the ground is swallowing their homes in Alaska. Did I say swallowing? I'm going to say swallowing, not swallowing. But houses getting swallowed. And when we look at this, there was a project being done. Why in the world would they want to do a project that connects Russia to Alaska? This was talked about between Trump and Putin. And they said, well, you know what? We've been doing this for the last 6 months. So if it's so unstable there, then why are they doing this underneath the ground? It's a 70-mile tunnel that the Kremlin envoy says they started 6 months ago. And the study is such tunnel, which will be known as Trump-Putin tunnel. Donald Trump said he thinks that the proposal was interesting. And so something is definitely happening beneath there. And then if this is a huge zone right now, where they potentially plan expansions.
So the reading Revelation, it says, I saw 3 evil spirits disguised as frogs leap from the mouth of the dragon, the creature, and his false prophet. So this is referring to the District of Columbia. Okay, so the dragon is the House of London, the creature is Washington, D.C., Obama, and the false prophet is the Vatican, right, the Pope. These things, they come as humans, disguised as humans. These are your principalities, your kings and queens, your prince and princesses, okay? They tell you they have wings, but they do not. They just come in synthetic vessels, passing as human beings. Okay, so when it comes to, you see, Gog and Magog, I'm going to show you in the Illuminati pyramid who Gog is. These are principalities, and these principalities are in London. So they're in King Charles because he is the one behind the climate change movement. He works with the Vatican. So the Vatican, so it's London and the Vatican. The ones that run this matrix is the Rothschilds and Rockefellers. Those are the ones, they run everything. They change their names. They're the ones that run London and the Vatican.
Angels, and aided by angels and archangels, and all the armies of the heavenly host, may thy portion this day be in peace, and thy dwelling in the heavenly Jerusalem.
I mean, these rituals go back at least 5,000 years, and they're initiated into it, and they know all the secrets, and they're trained from their ancestors, these celestial beings.
And aided by angels and archangels.
Outsiders are the Rothschilds and the Jesuits, and they have actually been intermarrying for centuries. We have what we call secular Jesuits, and the Rothschilds and the Jesuits are one. They're above the white pope. The black Jesuit pope is above the white pope, who's a Franciscan. And the Rothschilds are above the Queen of England. And they're above the City of London and Wall Street. And we have legalized massive crimes by these banks, to include manipulating foreign exchange and interest rates. When Goldman Sachs wants to make a lot of money, they start a war. And that drives up the price of oil and does other things, okay? So I cannot overstate the degree of evil that exists in the banking system as it responds to the Rothschilds and the Black Pope, the Jesuits. Then the banks essentially fund two-party tyrannies in each country. One bird, two wings, same crap, okay? And by the way, the FBI was founded by a pedophile. J. Edgar Hoover used to take small children as gifts from the mafia, okay? Pedophilia is very big in all this.
Everything is staged. Look at the Iranian parliament and compare it to the 2025 Oscars stage. We see the same Masonic symbolism. Movies are scripted, but so is politics. You see actors on stage, but who's writing the script?
I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
claims about the country.
Albert Pike, a 33rd degree Freemason, predicted it back in 1871. The Third World War will be triggered so that Islam and Israel destroy each other. A planned war designed to exhaust nations and impose a global Luciferian religion. This chaos was encoded long ago. The number 33 and the pyramid are the signatures of Freemasonry. Even George Washington was a member, but at the top, it's not God you find, it's Baphomet. The House of the Temple in Washington has 33 columns, each 33 feet tall, with a pyramid and a double-headed eagle, the same eagle used by the Russian Empire, yet they make you believe they're on opposing sides. The Israeli Supreme Court, again, a pyramid donated by the Rothschilds, and once more, the Iranian parliament, a pyramid with 33 windows. Coincidence? I don't think so. After all, who owns the world? BlackRock, the Black Cube, just like the Islamic Kaaba, Jewish Kabbalah, or Trump Tower. All aligned around the same symbol. And what do you find at the center of a Masonic lodge? A black cube, the cube of Saturn. A master mason knows the script, the others just follow it, and as long as you pick a side, you're doing exactly what they want you to do. You become a willing extra in their movie.
This is the end. Hold your breath and count.